Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. We're continuing our reading of Dante Alighieri's The Divine and Comedy, and it's the Inferno. We are in canto number 22. It has been quite creative. I have enjoyed it immensely. I can see why it's been a classic for so long, and why it is something the Italians are really proud of. Let us continue. Go ahead and listen to this as you're riding your bike, got your AirPods in, washing the dishes, cleaning the bathroom, whatever fun thing it is that you're doing. Let's begin. I have, ere a while, seen horsemen moving camp, begin the storming, and their muster make, and sometimes starting off for their escape. Vaunt courtiers have I seen upon your land. O Aretines, and foragers go forth, tournament stricken, and the joustings run, sometimes with trumpets, and sometimes with bells, with kettle drums and signals of the castles, and with our own, and with outlandish things, but never yet with bagpipe so uncouth. Did I see horsemen move, nor infantry, nor ship by any sign of land or star. We went upon our way with the 10 demons, savage company, but in the church with saints, and in the tavern with the gluttons. Ever upon the pitch was my intent, to see the whole condition of that Volga. Yes. And of the people who thereon were burned, even as the dolphins, when they make a sign to mariners by arching of the back, that they should counsel to save their vessel. Thus sometimes, to alleviate his pain, one of the sinners would display his back, and in less time conceal it than it lightens. So here, with that arching, just like, you can see the arching of the back just to alleviate some pain. Like just how you move it, the spine and how it adjusts when we are in immense pain really puts the image in your head. As on the brink of water in a ditch, the frogs stand only with their muzzles out, so that they hide their feet and other bulk. So upon every side, the sinners stood. But, ever as Barabachia near them came, thus underneath the boiling they withdrew. I saw, and still my heart doth shudder at it, one waiting thus even as it comes to pass. One frog remains, and down another dives. And Graphiation, who most confronted him, grappled him by his tresses smeared with pitch, and drew him up so that he seemed an otter. I knew before the names of all of them, so had I noted them when they were chosen, and when they called each other, listened how. O Rubicante, see that thou do lay thy claws upon him, so that thou mayest flay him. Ooh, lay thy claws upon him to be flayed. Look at that, that's line 41. Cried all together the accursed ones. And I, my master, see to it, if thou canst, that thou mayest know who is the luckless wit, thus come into his adversary's hands. Near to the side of him my leader drew, asked of him whence he was, and he replied, I in the kingdom of Navarre was born. My mother placed me servant to a lord, for she had borne me to a ribald knave, destroyer of himself and of his things. Then I, domestic was of good King Thibault, I set me there to practice barratry, for which I pay the reckoning in this heat, and Siriato, from whose mouth projected, on either side a tusk as in a boar, caused him to feel how one of them could rip. Among malicious cats the mouse had come, but Barbaritia clasped him in his arms, and said, "Stand ye aside, while I enfork him." Enfork him? I think it's like puncturing him, like how you do a piece of meat on a fork. And my master, he turned round his head. "Ask him again," he said, "if more thou wish to know of him before some one destroy him." The guide: "Now tell, then, of the other culprits. Knowest thou any one who is a Latian under the pitch? And he I separated lately from one who was a neighbor to it. Would that I still were covered up with him, for I should fear not either claw nor hook." Fear not either claw nor hook. And Libiococo, we have borne too much, and with his grapnel seized him by the arm, so that, by rendering, he tore off a tendon. Ooh, that's brutal. Iki Draginazzo wished to pounce upon him down at the legs, whence their decurion turned round and round about with evil look. When they again somewhat were pacified of him, who still was looking at his wound, demanded my conductor without stay, "Who was that one from whom a luckless parting thou sayest thou hast made, to come ashore?" And he replied, "It was Friar Gomita, he of Galura, vessel of all fraud." So this friar, the vessel of all fraud, must have been very corrupt, who had the enemies of his lord in hand, and dealt so with them, each exults thereat. Money he took, and let them smoothly off, as he says, as and in other offices. A barater was he, no means but sovereign. For gatherers with him one Don Miquel Zanch, of Logodoro, and of Sardinia, to gossip never do their tongues feel tired. So to gossip never do their tongues feel tired. So these people were just very gossipy. They just never stopped slandering. "Oh, me see that one, how he grinds his teeth. Still farther would I speak, but am afraid lest he, too, scratch my itch, be making ready." And the Grand Provost turned to Farfarello, who rolled his eyes about as if to strike, said, "Stand aside there, thou malicious bird. If you desire either to see or hear the terror-stricken recommence thereon, Tuscans or Lombards, I will make them come. But let the Malebranche cease a little, so that these may not their revenges fear, and I down sitting in this very place. For one that I am will make 7 come, when I shall whistle as our custom is to do whenever one of us comes out." Cagnazzo, at these words, his muzzle lifted, shaking his head, and said, "Just hear the trick which he has thought of, down to throw himself, whence he, who snares, in great abundance had, responded, I by far too cunning am, when I procure for mine a greater sadness." A lichen held not in, but running counter, unto the rest, said to him, "If thou dive, I will not follow thee upon the gallop, but I will beat my wings above the pitch, the height be left, and be the bank a shield, to see if thou alone dost countervail us. O thou who readest, thou shalt hear new sport. Each to the other's side his eyes averted. He first, who most reluctant was to do it, the Navarrese selected well his time, planted his feet on land, and in a moment leaped, and released himself from their design. Whereat each one was suddenly stung with shame. But he most who was cause of the defeat, therefore he moved and cried, Thou art o'ertaken. But little it availed, for wings could not outstrip the fear. The other one went under, and flying upward, he his breast directed. Not otherwise the duck upon a sudden dives under, when the falcon is approaching, and upward he returneth cross and weary. Infuriate at the mockery, Calcabrina, flying behind him, followed close, desirous the other should escape, to have a quarrel. And when the marauder had disappeared, he turned his talons upon his companion and grappled with him right above the moat. But sooth the other was a doughty sparhawk, to clapper claw him well, and both of them fell in the middle of the boiling pond. So it appears these two creatures, they're very quarrelsome. They're wrestling, grappling, and clawing at each other, just really having a go at one another. And they both fell in the pond, boiling pond that is, line 141. A sudden intercessor was the heat. That's clever. So a sudden intercessor was the heat to break him up, be like, hey, cheating between them. But nevertheless, of rising there was not, to such degree they had their wings belimed. Lamenting with the others, Barbaritia made 4 of them fly to the other side with all their gaffs, and very speedily. This side, and that they to their post descended, they stretched their hooks towards the pitched and snared, who were already baked within the crust. And in this matter busy did we leave them. So they're baked within the crust, and so they're really seeing these two entities just kind of go at it. And people are also witnessing it in hell. I mean, that's pretty freaky, right? The lamenting, people being stung with shame. It's a pretty serious canto, this one. Very full of lots of names of people who are there. So he always includes different people, and he includes a lot of Christians in here. Fire Gomita being a vessel of fraud, just pointing out how there's hypocrisy. So he really goes at the Christians as well in here. Let me know what you think. It's pretty classic. I really enjoy it. The way it's written, just filled with things that really make you think and ponder about your own placement. And I do enjoy this type of classical works because they seem to withstand the test of time. If you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MelonArchive. Hope to see you there.